If you're a new artist or you know someone who is and you want to find a good Christmas gift for them, I've got you covered, so let's go. This is the top 10 best Christmas gifts for new artists. Number 10, pencil. Pretty obvious, but most pencils will probably do fine. You don't need to buy an expensive set of pencils, but if you want something specific, then Faber-Castell are quite good, or Conte Paris, quite good as well. Either of those will be fine. I've used them both for a few years and they've never let me down, so go with those two. Number 9, pens. There are a billion different types of pens. I'm talking about drawing pens for inking. The 3 brands that I use are the Unipen pens, Faber-Castell pens, and Micron pens. Now, if you're buying this for someone else and the little numbers confuse you or the letters confuse you, they should explain on the packet what they mean. Basically, the numbers mean the size of the nib. So it's usually from like 0.05 up to 8. Sometimes the numbers are different, but usually within a range. One packet will be totally fine to start you off. And the letters like that mean like extra small or B for brush or SC for like soft chisel. They basically describe the end of the pen. Either Faber-Castell or Micron are the 2 that I'd probably recommend. Unipen are totally fine as well though. So whichever one's cheapest if this is your first set. Number 8, charcoal. So charcoal comes in 3 main forms that I'm going to cover. You've got compressed charcoal, which can come in pencil forms like this. Again, Conte Paris, that's charcoal there at the end. The other types are vine or willow charcoal. They come in sticks. I don't actually have any of those, but they're good for loose drawings because you can't press that hard on them or they'll snap. And the final one is charcoal powder, which looks like that. It's not totally necessary unless you're into charcoal and you know that you want to create a load of charcoal drawings and stuff. That's good to like spread on a piece of paper, usually with like a brush or something. But it's not necessary, but it's nice to have. Next, number 7, sketchbooks. So sketchbooks can be really expensive and a little bit confusing. I recommend getting a sketchbook that has a lot of pages. So I bought this one from an art shop. It's got loads and loads of pages, and I think it was less than £10. If you're just doing random sketches, this is all you need. You don't need to spend stupid amounts of money on a sketchbook. The Strathmore series are usually quite good. They are quite pricey, so they're good if you want to have a presentation sketchbook where all the nice drawings live. But for your studying, get a cheap one. You don't need fancy paper. If you're inking with pens, then you want paper that's a bit smooth. So like things like Bristol board, illustration board, mixed media paper, stuff like that, because then the pen can glide over the paper. If you ink on textured paper, like for sketching and stuff, there's a risk that you might scratch the paper, and also it might bleed through, particularly if you use a brush pen like this Pentel brush. If you find that you really like inking, then I definitely recommend a brush like this because they're really, really cool and they're really fun and versatile. There's a little brush on the end, hence the name. So yeah, so smooth paper for ink. For charcoal, the sketch pads will be fine. They should hold the charcoal quite well. Otherwise, if you want something that's a bit specific, then most of the sketchbooks will have charcoal on it somewhere. Alternatively, you could get something like this, which is toned paper. So it's basically paper that isn't white. And what that means is that you can use your charcoal, but you can also use a white charcoal pencil or just a white coloring pencil for highlights and stuff. This is a Derwent one, and you can buy these singular, which is why it's got a barcode on it, from art shops. But just get a packet of pencils if you want to go for the compressed charcoal. And again, that would be absolutely fine, and that should last you quite a while as well. And number 5, art bags. I bought an art bag, one of those fancy art bags with all the different pockets and stuff, for my first year at university, and it didn't last a full year because I got it for like £20 off Amazon. If you're going to go for the fancy art bags, which are called plain art bags, they're PLEIN art bags. They're the ones that look like they've got satchels stitched onto one big bag. You might have to spend a bit more money, like upwards of £100 or so. But I haven't used the expensive ones, so I can't vouch for them. But to be honest, if you're a beginner artist, any bag will do. As long as it can hold your sketchbook and your pencils, then you don't really need anything else. It's not worth splashing out on an expensive bag until you know exactly what you need your backpack for. And I know exactly what I need you for, and that's to click that subscribe button. Yeah, that'll do. Number 4, portfolio folders. So these are the little carry case things. God, these little things, and they're nice and flat, so they won't crumple up any of your nice sketches or artwork. You don't really need massive ones. That's an A3. I can't remember what that is. I know that Americans don't use A1, 2, 3 and 4 for sizes, but I know that you won't need anything larger than A1, definitely. I mean, you might do, but it's unlikely. An A1 is 24 by 33 inches and A2 is 16.5 by 24 inches, roughly. I'm pretty sure that's correct. It's around that anyway. I'm not good with inches unless of course I'm talking about my massive wang. Number 3, Lightbox. Lightboxes are really helpful for tracing over pencils. Like if you do a really nice pencil drawing and you want to ink it, then you would get your Lightbox, which will look something like this. It's basically like a thin plastic thing with a power button, and all of the white thing is a light. Usually has different strengths depending on the thickness of your paper. Most cheap Lightboxes are USB powered, but you can get battery operated ones which have a bit more portability. But even the more expensive ones will cost like 30 quid. That one cost a tenner, so they're really, really cheap and they're really handy to have. Number 3, ruler or edge. I know that some people have said that you shouldn't use a ruler or a straight edge when you're creating art, but I don't really understand that logic at all because they're really useful to have. It doesn't really matter if it's plastic or wood or metal or anything. I've got a long one. Got some cork on the back, and they're really useful. They're useful for creating straight lines, particularly when you're creating something like a perspective grid. And you can even buy rulers that have circle stencils in the ruler, which again, very, very useful. Yes, it's true that you should be using your hands to draw as much as you can so you can practice drawing straight lines, but also deadlines exist, and why would you make it harder for yourself to prove what? I don't know. Anyway, rulers or edges. Number 2, the eraser. So there are different types of erasers. I think I've used them all. You got your cheap like vinyl ones, which usually leave a load of crap behind. They're annoying, but they do the job, to be honest. You've got gum erasers, which I didn't really enjoy because I found that they're quite sticky, and also sometimes they stuck to the page, which is a bit annoying. But the one that I use most often is the kneaded eraser. I think this is 2 erasers that I've smashed together, but they're really, really pliable. Like you can move them about and create different shapes, which is quite versatile. It's quite good. I've got an unopened one here, but again, this is the Faber-Castell. I'm not sponsored by them, but I mean, if they want to give me money, I'll take it. But yeah, these are usually pretty cheap and they'll last for ages. Like I've had this, I can't even remember when I bought this. Number 1, the drawing tablet. So if you want to get into the digital world, you need a drawing tablet. And there are a lot of different ones to choose from. I haven't tested loads and loads of different drawing tablets, so I can't say from experience. I can only say from my own experience, but I would say that don't spend more than 50 quid on a drawing tablet, because if you spend hundreds of pounds on a drawing tablet and then find out that you don't really like digital drawing, then it's a waste of money. And a 50 quid tablet will be totally fine. The tablets that I've used are Wacom, the brand Wacom tablets. I started with a Bamboo, then I went to an Intuos, and then finally settled on the Cintiq. But there are others, like there's XP Pen tablets, which you can get for about 50 or 60 quid, and then there's Huion, that brand as well, for about the same price. If you go super cheap, you run the risk of it not being a very good tablet, but most of them will be totally fine, particularly if you're just getting into it. If you have been doing digital art for a while, or if you've just got a lot of money, then you can upgrade from the normal drawing tablets to a tablet with a screen. And I got my Cintiq, which is a Wacom tablet with a screen inbuilt, a couple of years ago, and I don't know what I did without it. I personally really like them, but I'm easily amazed, so maybe that's not the best example. But again, there are alternatives to Wacom that are a little bit cheaper, but I haven't used them, so I can't say if they're any good. I assume that they're good because people do use them. But if you're going to get the Wacom Cintiq, I've got the 16-inch one, and that's about 1300 quid. So it is on the expensive side, so be warned for that. Also, with all of these suggestions that I've made, I've got links in the description. They're the Amazon affiliate links, so if you buy any of those through those links, I will get a little bit of money, which is quite nice. It won't affect the cost to you, so don't worry about that. But just remember that if you're new or you're just starting into a new medium, you don't need to buy all of the expensive stuff. The gear is nice, the expensive branded stuff is really nice, but it's not going to make you a better artist. Like, you will make yourself a better artist through experience and through practice. And it kind of doesn't really matter what you're practicing with. And also, what I like might be not what you like, so just keep that in mind as well. But as a general rule of thumb, until you have experience and have experimented with different brands, go for the cheaper options, because the expensive ones won't make that much difference. They're more of a luxury. Anyway, otherwise, I hope that's helped. There's a lot more that I could have added to this list, but you'll be able to create art with all the things that I've listed here. So happy shopping. Hopefully you get the right gifts. Show this to your parents to give them some ideas and to give me money. No, I'm joking. So yeah, show this video to your parents or your grandparents, and tell them to click in the description links. Because, you know, I don't know. I hope this has helped give you some gift ideas for the holiday season. I've been Brinkley, have fun drawing, and I'll see you in the next one.